yeah, we're gonna just basically get into the snapshots and stuff. Well, not yeah, it is the snapshots, but these are for 1.19.4 now, so they've got all these new features coming to 1.20, but it's experimental features coming out for 1.19.4. But basically got technical changes to 1.19.4 pre-release 2. Only mobs in the dismounts underwater entity tag will now force the rider to dismount underwater. So basically, any mob basically would, if you were completely submerged underwater, would make you dismount. Only certain things. Um, what's the name of 1.20? That is a good thing. It is actually Trails and Tails update. So the Trails and Tails update or something. Well, actually, it's just Trails. Where's the end symbol? And Tails. No, not that kind of Tails. Trails and Tails. Pretty cool. It's I don't know. It's a weird name. It's kind of like yeah, I can see how they've gone for that, but also like that's a little bit weird. The Tails part makes sense with all some of these new features, especially sort of the bookcases and stuff like that. The Trails part not so much, but probably. But yeah, that is the update name. Yeah, it's a pretty cool name. I think it's pretty good. Um, I'm about to go crazy about the sniffer and the fossils. Oh yeah, that'll be. I haven't actually really seen many of those videos lately, but you know, I'm sure he will do. Anyway, coming in 1.19.4 release 2, you've also got updated the texture for pink petals. So these pink petals here have been just their texture updated ever so slightly. It's hard to tell. It's one of these things that's just hard to tell if you don't know. Updated textures for cherry door, cherry sapling, and cherry boat. So these just make it a little bit better. So it's just like you've got the cherry doors. It's kind of a little bit, I think it's a little bit more consistent with the texture, so you've got this little sort of door frame just right under there, if you can see that, which I don't think was there before, and a few other little changes. It's really hard to notice, but they are there. What else? We've got updated the neck of the decorated pot model. So before there was like you could do this, but before there was a little bit of Z fighting. There is no longer that. So on its own, it kind of just looks like that. Pretty cool, alright. I'm not sure if I like it with decorated pots or not, but at least there's not that sort of Z texture fighting there, so that's something. Uh, So adjusted potion colours to make them more distinguishable from each other, because obviously since they, this one's a big one actually. What's that yellow plant? That's yellow plant. This is the torch flower. Um, it is basically this. So sniffers will dig up these seeds, torchflower seeds, which you can basically then plant them like as if they were wheat seeds or whatever, and they will grow into these torchflowers. So it's kind of mid texture pods, yeah. Um, but what you've also got is that at one point, well, not too recently, but they removed the color, the texture glint of potions, but to now make them a little bit more visible, they've changed the sort of colors on them. I forgot this was a feature, so I didn't quite get things set up properly. But one of the big changes is they've changed the potion of night vision. It is now no longer this sort of dark blue, it's more of this green. Now, in some cases, I think this makes it a little bit better for readability, in other cases not so much. Like, the Potion of Night Vision now looks very much like the Potion of Leaping, or like, you know, stuff like this. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's a bit hard to tell now. So, yeah, it's a thing. Like, I'm not sure. The enchantment glint is a weird one anyway. Uh, anyway, it's you've got the night vision here. It's a weird one. I'm not sure if in some cases I think they look good. Others like night vision, I'm not sure about. Others maybe not so much. Right? It's like yeah, it's. I think what they're going for generally is much better, and I think they are more temporary changes. I'm not sure if they plan to actually add individual textures, but obviously that takes like a lot of resources, and maybe they just don't want to prioritize it, so that might be something they want to add. Maybe they will get around to it, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, there's a quite cool little thing. If you press F3S, it'll basically, I'm not sure I can really show you this, but it'll dump all the texture files into, or dump all the dynamic textures into the texture files, such as like it's such as, what is it, atlases, like texture atlases and all sorts of stuff like that. And it'll kind of give you into this screenshot slash debug inventory. It's quite cool to look at. I don't think it's very useful to most people, but good for debugging certain things, obviously. But yeah, it is an interesting thing to see how the game sort of puts everything together. There's also updated the, oh, this is getting into this is pre-release 3 by now, by the way now. Updated the textures of the archery shard. So before, the bow was the other way around. It looks so much better now that it's the right way around, and it's no longer a wob. Yep, that's either something you will or won't know, but it's now the right way around. It now shows as a bow and not a reversed bow. Basically, I will definitely mix up the potions now. So also you've got changes here in 1.19.4 pre-release 4 now we're on, so we've got the credits and attributions button in the option menu. So if we just we can go out, I think, do we have to go out? Anyway, you've got this little button here which will give you the credits. If you press the credits, it'll kind of show up with the sort of end game credits without the actual end game between it. It'll just show the credits basically, which, yeah, sure, not sure why you would particularly want to do that, but you know what, that's fine. Why did I click multiplayer? If we get back into this eventually, and hope that everything stays okay, we can basically have a look at then. I'm not sure, can you see it in here? Actually, yeah, you can see it inside here. If you wanted to, you could do it inside your world. Not sure. Yeah, right. Then technical changes. Interpolation now starts from the current state and instead of the final state, so it's basically instead of basically it starting, I don't know. Yeah, that's a weird one. It's just kind of another technical little change there. Where are we? We've also got experimental changes. What's the textures for the tree leaves have been updated, and the cherry sign. So there was a little thing with the cherry sign where basically at the bottom here, it was, I think, more of a retexture of one of the older colors, older things, older textures. It's now consistent with the actual tree log, or the cherry log. Something, again, the leaves, it's hard to tell unless you put them side by side, between the old and the new, so it's fine. I'm sure they look slightly better. It's hard to tell after not seeing the previous version. I think, other than, right, you've now got 1.19.4 release candidate 1, so technical changes. You've literally just got changes to display entity interpolation. So it literally is like, so you've got a new thing. So it's, instead of interpolation start, which is the start tick, it'll actually just do, it start interpolation, so this is 10 ticks after the current tick or something. So they've changed it ever so slightly, but otherwise it's the same. So you can see I can do like 100 seconds and it will do 50 seconds, 100 seconds, or 100 ticks is a bit long. And you can just see, oh, if I reset this and I would set this to this, it'll take 50 ticks before it grows. There we go. And I think that's it, because we've got, we're currently in release candidate 2, except those are only bug fixes, which is a good sign, because I think we've actually got, I don't know how official it is, but we've actually got an announcement. I know it's coming next week, the update. So sometime next week, I don't think they mentioned when, but probably the Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when they normally release the updates. So that's exciting to see. We might explore the update next stream, the complete update, everything that's come in 1.19.4, all the experimental changes and stuff, and we'll go over that. But yeah, these block displays are huge. They are so big for the like sort of modding and map creation and all that kind of stuff. Because you can do so much with it now. Like people have created so many sort of unique, clever things with it now. So it will be exciting to see what people can do when it's actually officially comes to the game. I mean, it is officially in the game, but it's not in a release. But yeah, I do believe that is everything now. So can you somehow add collisions to to the growing blocks, or is that not possible? Not really. I don't think there is a way to particularly add collisions without kind of, I don't know, doing some sort of funny thing like putting actual blocks there or whatever. Like you could just grow it so that it's ever so slightly bigger than so you can do 0.01, so it's ever so slightly bigger than a block, so that it doesn't actually have this C fighting here. It's still doing that. Okay, possibly just green, just those green command blocks with set block. Yeah, that is the only thing about block displays, is that the or display entities in general, is that they don't have any collision or anything. You kind of have to probably find funny little ways around it. Oh, I actually have to press the button, don't I? Maybe let's not set it to 50 ticks. Let's just set it to 0 ticks. You go out and you can see that it's technically looks like it doesn't have. It looks like it has collision, but it doesn't actually. So that's a way around it, but you're just gonna have to go. But yeah, that will be good for quite a few things. It'll be quite exciting to see what happens there. Anyway, that's about it. I think that's it. Yep. All right. So yeah, maps and puzzles. I'm sure there'll be other command uses to it. It's not particularly hard. I also fixed like last time for some reason, whatever reason, I can't do this as another chain block for some chain command for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but if I just sort of copy this and put this in here, then we can see that it does work. However, it doesn't have any interpolation or anything like that, which is really weird. But we can put it, we can kind of, you can kind of do that, and we can put that on, and it adds interpolation. I'm not sure why it's funny like that, but it is.